Tonight, police launch a murder inquiry after 15-year-old Glasgow schoolboy Amen Teklai is stabbed to death. Amen's friends and family are devastated.
I think it's a mixture of sort of numbness and really extreme grief, I would say, among young people.
A lovely boy. It's just so desperately sad.
Our chief reporter, Sharon Frew, is live with the latest. Also making the headlines, ready to leave Scotland. Redundant Grangemouth oil refinery workers tell us they may have to move abroad to get a job. And Take Me Out, ahead of their big homecoming gig, Franz Ferdinand tell us what makes the Barrowlands so special.
The audience literally flies into the air as you're playing.
I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Friendly, much loved, interested in music and the media, bright and showing great promise. Just some of the descriptions used today by those closest to schoolboy Amen Teklai. Amen died after being found on a street to the northwest of Glasgow city centre with serious stab wounds around 10:30 on Wednesday night. Police have launched a murder investigation. Here's our chief reporter, Sharon Frew.
His family say they are broken. 15-year-old Amen Teklai's sister has travelled from London to Glasgow to comfort their father. Delina agreed to speak to STV anonymously. She said Amen was not just her brother, he was her best friend. She learned of his murder via social media while at college.
They posted on Snapchat and I was in school and I saw it and I couldn't believe it. And they told me like it was hacked because they didn't want to tell me before I go home. And I still didn't believe it. I felt like something was going on and stuff. So I left school, I went home, and after I went home, they told me, yeah, it was really bad. I don't know, we still don't believe it. We just feel like it's still a dream, so.
Behind the police cordon, gardens, drains and pavements were searched. As detectives continue to piece together the events of Wednesday night, those who knew the 15-year-old are also still trying to comprehend his sudden death. A community worker who supported the teenager for several years arrived here within minutes of the stabbing.
One of Amen's close friends had got a phone call and went to the scene and then called me. And then when we arrived, obviously the police barriers were up. Amen's family members were there and his dad was there, but we didn't know exactly what had happened. When I seen the forensics, I sort of felt that the worst had happened. And I was trying to be strong enough so his dad wasn't sort of finding out the wrong way.
My name's Amen, I'm 15 years old.
The schoolboy made this video with his friends during his time at Knightswood Community Connections. They knew him as bright and funny. The centre has now thrown open its doors to support his family and the wider community mourning his loss.
The video that we put out, I was just off camera. And the boys were, no, I don't want to do it, don't want to do it. And Amen stepped up and he was so proud. He was so proud of himself. And I was standing, I was clapping, I was so proud. A lovely boy. It's just so desperately sad. We opened the spaces yesterday and they were all like wee homing pigeons. They all just came to us and they're just confused. Why did this happen? Comprehending something so huge and so personal to them.
Having to break that news to 11, 12-year-olds that come to the community centre and then his older friend group. And so it's been quite difficult, I would say as well. Amen was supported a lot. He loved school, and I know that the school had a minute silence yesterday. They're doing what they can to support the students there.
Amen's head teacher described the teenager as friendly and much loved. The school said their thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends. The 15-year-old, who was originally from Eritrea, had lived in Glasgow's Knightswood for several years.
When you walk into a room, you'd smile just because of how cool and relaxed he was. He did care about his friends a lot. I think even for me, it's hard to process that he's not here. What's happened has happened. We will learn from it. we don't want to see things escalate. I know what it feels like. I don't want someone else to get a similar phone call and then have to tell young people that their best friend's dead and he's not coming back.
Well, tonight the police tape may have gone, the cordon has been lifted, but officers remain here carrying out door-to-door inquiries. Detectives gave very little in the way of an update today other than to say that this is a murder inquiry. They did repeat their appeal for any information. They're looking for witnesses who were here on Wednesday night. They also appealed again for any CCTV, private doorbell footage and any dashcam footage. Any information that could be relevant to this inquiry.
And Sian, you've been speaking to Amen's father and his family today.
Yes, he is at the community centre tonight with many members of his family, and they're in shock. They're in complete denial. You heard from his sister earlier about the pain this has caused on the family. The wider community have come to try and support him at that community centre. Many school children are also there. Everyone's saying they wanted to come there to support the family. Some have travelled from London, Birmingham, Manchester, Bradford, Leeds. They said they wanted to come to Glasgow. One man said, "I'm here today to support Amen's father because he is a good man and so is his son. That community and that family say they desperately want answers."
Sharon in Glasgow, thank you. Workers losing their jobs at the Grangemouth oil refinery have told STV News they may have to move to England or the Middle East to secure similar work. The Petro Ineos plant will close later this year and redundancies will begin within weeks. The Scottish Secretary insists the UK government is doing all it can to secure an alternative future for the site. But Ian Murray acknowledged the gap between the closure and new opportunities coming in doesn't help people today. Well, our senior reporter Gordon Cree has been following the story. So Gordon, what's the mood there?
Well, it's all becoming pretty urgent, John. One of the workers I've been speaking to grew up here in Grangemouth. His mum worked in the refinery. He always saw it as a potential career for himself. He got a job here, he bought his own house, and now at the age of 26, he's been told it's all over. So when he hears all the politicians talk about projects and initiatives for the future, his concern is, where's he going to work now? This event at Forth Valley College aims to bring together workers who will be leaving the oil refinery and potential new employers. There's also a hope people who need retraining or different skills for a new job in the area can be helped. But for Matthew, who's worked at the plant since he left school and saw it as a job for life, there's a growing feeling his future lies elsewhere.
I'm looking to stay in the same line of work, so that could be England, offshore, could be abroad, anywhere in the world, but they're not easy jobs to get.
Many of the jobs here are highly skilled and highly paid. That's what makes it harder to stay local and do something else. Peter told me he's likely to move abroad too, but fears what the wider consequences of that will be.
There's going to be a skills shortage in the central belt of Scotland, and the very people that would be able to bring this green revolution about are not going to be in the country, because they're going to be abroad working in oil and gas in the Middle East or Asia, wherever pays the best money. And some of them are going to have to with their families to do that, but it's a choice they have to make.
The Scottish Secretary was visiting Edinburgh University's Informatics Forum this morning to make a speech on economic growth. I put the workers' concerns to him.
When Peter, an operator from the Grangemouth refinery, tells me he heard Anna Sarwar say, "We'll keep this place going," he hears you say, "We're doing what we can," he says he feels let down.
Well, we have done everything we possibly can. It wasn't our decision to close the refinery. That was a commercial decision by Petro Ineos. It's something that had been on the cards for some time, but no action had been taken. When I came into office, the very first meeting I had was on Grangemouth, and I was told that no action was taken in terms of the previous Conservative government or the current Scottish government. So I fully understand, sympathise with Peter's position in that sense, but we've done everything we possibly can to try and make sure there's a bright future for Grangemouth and the wider area.
Back at the college, these engineering apprentices are the next generation. And there's still a level of confidence many of the traditional skills will be needed in a greener economy.
We reckon 85 to 90% of the skills required are still current skills, so pumps, compressors, valves, all that type of stuff. It's a little bit on the top where it's a different gas going through or it's a different liquid, so that's what we're working with employers to do, and we'll contextualise our curriculum to match that.
As we move away from drilling for oil and towards net zero, it's clearly crucial for countless energy workers and their families that process is as smooth as possible.
Gordon, we're told economic growth is the UK government's priority, so how does all this fit in?
Well, Ian Murray confirmed this morning he's convening a Scottish Growth Commission, cross-government, co-chaired by him and the Deputy First Minister, Kate Forbes. He said it would bring together people from business, industry, trade unions and civil society to find ways of growing the economy in Scotland, which should result in better paid and sustainable jobs. Now, probably no one would disagree with that as an aim. The trouble is how to get there. It's worth saying the Scottish Secretary today did not deny reports that the much heralded GB Energy, the investment vehicle which will fund net zero projects, is facing a budget cut. Like everything in the transition of this industry where it meets the public finances, there are difficult decisions to make. John.
Gordon at Grangemouth, thank you. Police are investigating the murder of a man in Glasgow. James Jarvis's body was found in a property in Mona Street in Pottle Park yesterday morning. The 55-year-old's car was discovered nearby on Auckland Street. Police are describing it as a challenging investigation. Argyll and Bute councillors have voted to build Mull's new school campus in Tobermory. The decision means most children aged 11 and over in the south of the island will continue to go to school and board in Oban, something campaigners have been fighting to end. The £43 million campus will be built less than a mile from the island's current high school in the town. And staying on Mull, STV News has been hearing from islanders about their concerns over a proposed visitor levy. For some, it means their small business will be hit with new administration and financial burdens, whilst for others, they fear the price of services on the island could rise if workers are charged to stay when visiting. Ollie Dickinson has more.
The beauty of the Isle of Mull attracts tourists from far and wide. From white sandy beaches to glens and lochs, it's estimated around 600,000 people make the trip every year. Now, Argyll and Bute Council are considering taxing visitors with a new accommodation levy. Gordon Chalmers runs a B&B in the heart of the main town of Tobermory. He worries about the impact it could have.
I know that many people have not recovered from the various blows: COVID, cost of living increase, 10% inflation, Brexit. That's got to be mentioned in the mix. We'll survive because small is beautiful. We will, but bigger businesses, which our society needs, our islands need to thrive, they will start to struggle.
Being on an island, residents regularly have to travel to Oban and beyond to access essential services. The proposed levy would mean islanders would be charged if they were forced to stay away. It also means people travelling to Mull for work would also be hit.
Our life on the islands involves travelling. A lot of main facilities, healthcare, etc., are on the mainland, and we have to stay overnight. Anything to do with Glasgow hospitals, anything to do with the main companies in Glasgow is an overnight stay. You can't do it in one day from here. And so it is the tax-paying residents that are going to be paying these fees in large part.
The levy will be included in businesses' turnover. This could then push them over the VAT threshold, resulting in further administration charges.
It doesn't make any sense to have it as part of turnover. It should be entirely separate if it's going to be applied at all.
People are going to question whether it's worth it. You know, already it's pretty expensive to come and stay in Tobermory, and if you're coming with a family, that kind of nightly cost is already quite high. So if you're putting 5% on top of that, is it worth it? Are they going to choose to come here, or would they just choose to go closer to home?
Argyll and Bute Council are running a consultation on the plans where people can suggest amendments such as an islander exemption until the 10th of April. Ollie Dickinson, STV News, the Isle of Mull.
A fundraiser for a Rangers fan who died after being hit by a car in Istanbul ahead of the club's Europa League match earlier this week has raised more than £100,000. Friends of Christopher Potter created a GoFundMe following his death. The Rangers captain James Tavernier is amongst those to have donated large sums of money. Well, Raman is here now with the sport.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Good evening. Václav Černý says Rangers are in the perfect position going into next week's second leg against Fenerbahce in their last 16 Europa League tie. Černý scored twice in the 3-1 victory in Istanbul last night. Barry Ferguson praised his players but warned the tie is far from over, and Fenerbahce boss Jose Mourinho agrees.
Overall, it's a brilliant result, but there's no way that I'm getting carried away here. This is only half-time, and when you look at his team, he has got players that are really dangerous and can really affect games. So there's no way that we think we're in the last 8. I would be an absolute idiot if I thought that.
We were very bad everywhere. I think it's not fair to say we were very bad in defence, because we were very bad. Because there is a second match to play.
Brendan Rodgers hopes the SPFL's ruling to cut Celtic's ticket allocation by 500 for their next appearance at Hampden for a League Cup match for the use of pyros will result in their fans not repeating this behaviour. Well, Rodgers' side are at home to Hibs in the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup on Sunday. While the holders have defeated David Gray's team 3 times this season, they lost to Hibs at Easter Road a fortnight ago.
The context of the game is totally different to when we played a couple of weeks ago. We've had 150% focus this week on the game. The energy in the game will be totally different, and I expect a difficult game, but I also expect Hibs to have a very difficult game also.
We go there with belief that we can do it. I say it all the time, you need to believe you can do it. If you don't believe you can do it, we're wasting our time even going along the M8, to be honest. So I think the players are aware of that. We'll take confidence for the last game, but you then can't go into the game thinking it's going to be any easier, because it certainly isn't.
Well, the first of the Scottish Cup quarter-finals takes place at Tynecastle tonight, where Hearts host Dundee, and Chris Harvey is there for us.
Oh, good evening from Tynecastle, Raman, where conditions are absolutely perfect for what we hope will be a rip-roaring Scottish Cup quarter-final tie between Hearts and Dundee. For Hearts, well, the stands here will be filled with expectant Jambos looking for a reaction after that difficult 2-1 loss to Hibs last weekend. A place in the semi-finals up for grabs, a place at Hampden. Neil Critchley is hoping his players will step up.
Any chance to get to Hampden is a big game, it's a special game, so we know it'll be a tough game. Dundee had a lift last week with their point, cup competition, so maybe slightly different approach in terms of how they'll feel psychologically going into the game, but it's about us, it's about how we play at home, and we want to make sure that we show a response from our game last week.
Well, for Dundee visitors here tonight, the memory is fresh of that 6-0 humiliation they had at their own patch at the hands of the Jam Tarts. They've got Joe Shaughnessy back as skipper. They're hoping that will give them a boost. And you can watch the whole game live on STV Player Plus in association with Premier Sports here tonight.
Well, after Queen's Park's Cup heroics against Rangers, Callum Davidson has urged his players to earn that euphoric feeling again. Davidson takes his team to Pittodrie on Saturday for their quarter-final clash. That's the Spiders' reward for their stunning win at Ibrox last month.
That's what you're playing, it's that euphoria, that kind of elation of achieving something in the game. It's a great feeling, and I say to the players, you want that feeling a lot, and we've got a chance to do it Saturday. So that's what you've got to try and aim for. You've got to remember how it feels after winning that game. You've got to try and replicate it.
And the last of the quarterfinals takes place on Monday when Livingston take on St Johnstone, and you can hear from Livy boss David Martindale on our website. Finally to rugby, and on the eve of Scotland's penultimate Six Nations match against Wales, Finn Russell says he's paid little attention to criticism directed at him following the defeat to England. Russell and the rest of the squad were putting in their final preparations at Murrayfield earlier. The fly half missed all 3 conversions at Twickenham, including one in the final minute, which would have all but secured a win for the Scots.
I'm not too stressed about what's been said about my game, as long as I'm thinking and happy with it myself, then that's kind of all that matters. And to be fair to me, I go back to my family and friends, and they're the ones that are kind of the first to either pick me up or put me down either way. I think a result will put us back on track for that France game, and it will kind of reward us for some of the good rugby that we've done over the last 12 months or more. I think Wales are a brilliant side. I think they're better than what everyone probably thinks.
Your window to sport. CR Smith sponsors STV Sport.
That, folks, is all of your sport tonight. Have a great weekend. See you again on Monday. John.
Brahman, thank you. Straight to Sean now with the weekend weather.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Very good evening to you. Well, the weather's not been too bad through much of the day across Argyll and Bute. The Highlands here, we've had the best of the sunshine. Quite hazy at times, mind you. Thicker cloud in the south and east with outbreaks of rain. But that rain spreading to all parts over the next couple of hours. And for most of us, it is quite cloudy and damp tonight. Temperatures, though, staying on the mild side, about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. The good news for us is wave goodbye to the weather front, because it ends up parked up across the Northern Isles, the Western Isles this weekend. So here, it should become drier and brighter. A cloudy start to tomorrow, but brightening up into the afternoon. And actually, maybe not quite use the word warm just yet, but it should feel pleasant enough in the sunshine tomorrow, especially across the likes of Glasgow, Ayrshire, Renfrewshire, Inverclyde, the Bartonshire. We could get highs of 15, maybe just about 16 degrees. That's 61 in Fahrenheit. So feeling nice enough in the sunshine, as I say. Another pleasant day to come on Sunday. We've got dry, bright and mild weather. Temperatures 16 degrees. We've still got the weather front in the north and outbreaks of rain. Now, if you think spring has sprung, forget that, because we're in African air at the moment. So yes, feeling very nice in the sunshine when it comes out this weekend. But African air swapped for Arctic air next week. Much, much colder, return to overnight frost. Now, across Ayrshire, this is East Ayrshire, for example, we're looking at temperatures 15 or 16 possible the next couple of days, but then we get that big dip into next week. Highs more like 6 or 7. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, the Scottish rockers Franz Ferdinand are getting ready to play the Barrowlands tonight, rounding off their current tour on home soil. The band, whose hits include Take Me Out, Michael and Do You Want To, have been delighting audiences for over 20 years. And Laura Boyd joined them to find out how much it means to them to be playing back in their favourite place.
Well, I'm here in Glasgow's iconic Barrowland Ballroom, where back in 2004, Franz Ferdinand first took to that stage. Now, they've played here numerous times since, but it is Friday night, it's Glasgow, it's their hometown, and they are going to be playing again tonight off the back of the release of their album, The Human Fear. Guys, Alex and Bob, how are you feeling about being here?
Oh my God, over the moon. Like, it's my favourite venue in the world, so yeah, I'm very chuffed.
Yeah, it's the last night of our tour, so it's all been building up to this.
Yeah.
What makes it so special here?
It's a combination of things. It's the history, it's the actual building itself. If you look at it, nowhere else in the world looks like this. The floor that we're standing on as well is a sprung dance floor, and so like the audience literally flies into the air as you're playing. It's the reputation, of course, it is that audience as well. Yeah. You know, like the Glasgow audience is famous around the world for just being the best, so yeah.
And they do love it. But you've played in Scotland. Was it last year you were doing Strathpeffer and Stirling?
Yeah, we did a little run of smaller places. Dumfries as well. Was it just the 3? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great as well. Yeah, it was nice to go and play places we'd never played before, like Strathpeffer.
And then some big gigs in the summer as well. none other than Glastonbury.
Oh, yes, aye, that's right. We just found out about that the other day. That'd be great. Yeah, I can't wait. It's a wee while since we last did it. I think last time we did it was Sparks, wasn't it?
It's been 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
But we're also doing another Glasgow show in the summer at the Galvanisers Yard on the 13th of August.
I can't wait for that. If you haven't been there, it is honestly an incredible place.
Great. I've never played, so I'm really looking forward to it, because I still think of it as the actual Galvanisers Yard that I used to go past on the train to my mum's house.
And new music out as well, and it's been doing really, really well. You've got a new single out, Bob?
Yes, Bar Lonely. That's a favourite to play live as well. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, talking of playing live, you have got so many hits that people love. Which one do you think is going to go best in Glasgow tonight?
I don't know. We'll see. Do you know the one that actually makes people kind of craziest is we often end the show with a song called This Fire. And that's kind of like almost like the pinnacle of the energy. Yeah, it's like an inferno. It's brilliant. That's the moment I'm really looking forward to.
Well, it's one of my favourites. And as I'm in here, do you think I can just sneak to the front there and just stay there?
We're going to put a little kind of like velvet rope just at the front.
Laura's VIP. Amazing. Thank you. I'll hold you to that, guys. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see this. John, you don't need me back in the office. Take it away. Have a lovely weekend. I certainly am going to.
And we haven't seen her either. Some night ahead at the Barrowlands. From all of us here, thank you for watching. Have a good night.